Good afternoon and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Defining Virtuosity. My name is Odin Rathnam and I am Professor of Violin at Cleveland State University. We've been working through the Wohlfahrt studies, books 1 and 2, and yesterday I uploaded, I believe 6 or 7 more etudes from the first book. And today I would like to jump into the second book for some of my other students that are working in that. Of course, now we're going back and forth between first and third position. Number 35 and Allegro has a triple meter, 3/4 meter, and incorporates the use of a technique called Z bowing. The idea, if we just think about the letter Z, that we could use an odd number of strokes, 3 strokes, using more bow on the first stroke, less on the second, and more on the third, and use that as a means of getting from one point in the bow to another. So we can get from the tip 2/3 of the way down, 1/3 back, and then 2/3 and end up at the frog, or doing the opposite, 2/3 down, 1/3 up, and 2/3 down. This is an extremely useful technique and can be done in many different total ranges of motion. So we could call any portion a whole portion, and we could divide this into thirds and do a small Z bowing within that, or something this small. And it can really help us choreograph the bow in more advanced bow distribution patterns later on. So it's taught early. And again, I would encourage students to practice number 35, both beginning down and beginning up. If you begin down, you could start at the, if we're assuming that we're using the whole bow, you could start at the 3rd point of the bow going down. Let me just back up. We could start about here on the upbeat, da-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-da-da-dum, bum, 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 be-da-da-da-da-dim, bum, bum, bum. That kind of way. Go to the frog. 2/3, 1/3, 2/3. That's the idea. Now, for the articulation, the collet catches the string at each of those points. So one of the exercises I have students do to be disciplined about where they are in the bow is to play those notes as collets and travel in the air to the next point. Place the bow, do the next collet, travel to the air to the next point, making sure that they check that they've gotten to all of those points, so that we start at the very tip. Collet to 2/3, 1/3 to the tip. That's one of the elements or the virtues that we want to be able to execute. Another thing about this etude is it brings us face to face with this ever important thing that I've brought up over and over again in these videos from the practice chapter in Ivan Galamian's book, Principles of Violin Playing and Teaching, called correlation, which is the concept that before any action, there is a mental command for that action. And that has to be in that order. There has to be that advanced mental preparation that results on the action being executed. And the actions that are of particular importance in this etude are string crossings, and placements of fingers on the first note of the new string that we're on. Then we have lifts and drops and shifts. Okay, so the concept of that is that when we're done with this, I'm ready for the G and I've shifted. I've dropped the first finger and I've caught the string. I've dropped the third finger and I've caught the string. I'm at the tip and I've caught the string for the up bow. I've crossed to the G and the first finger is ready. I'm at the 2/3 point, the 1/3 point, and the second finger is ready. I've crossed to the G. Every action before it's executed is sent very clearly. So in slow motion, once that is clear in the mind of the student practicing, we have to throw out the notion that the Z bowing has to be the whole bow, and immediately turn the student's attention to reacting to the harmonies that we're moving through, experimenting with dynamics, and doing the Z bowings in different shapes. We also should practice this etude in reverse, starting up. So this is very important. We practice it in different amounts of bow. Let's just take from here to the end backwards. Now, in addition to practicing it backwards and forwards, I want to remind of a couple of other points that I even after all these years, I always remind myself. That is to try to hang the arm weight between the sounds. Hang, hang, hang. Hang, hang, hang. And I do that at the moment I pronate. The moment that I pronate to catch, to get the weight from this side back for a catch, this way, there's a tendency to want to do this, to raise the arm like a dog peeing on a fire hydrant, Miss Thomas used to say. You don't want to do that. So you have to be able to pronate here without pronating at the shoulder, because this is designed to transfer all of that weight of the arm into the string. If we lift this, we've gotten rid of the desired effect, which is to transfer the weight of all of that into the string. We're actually holding that weight up because we're pronating at the shoulder. Okay, so keep a supinated shoulder. That's the idea of hanging. Even whether you go from balanced in the pinky to pronated, so that even if you're doing this with your hand, the act of turning this way doesn't make us do this. Stay hanging as you turn that way. Then all that weight will go nicely into the index finger and into the string at the sounding point. The other thing to remember is the sense of in and out. Just to exaggerate this idea, but the bow shouldn't really be doing that. It's just the idea of pushing out and in, and bending the thumb and curling the fingers so that the wrist hinge doesn't become locked. Yeah, so from the end of the piece, at the repeat, we'd have... In softer dynamics, because we would never encounter a piece that was just straight forte the whole way through, we can almost feel as the bow lifts out of the string, allowing it to ring. This is best practiced in a dry acoustic because you don't want to have something cheating for you. If the room cheats for you, you don't know because the room is ringing. We want to make the violin ring. And the best way to make it ring is to make sure that there's a little vibrato and the note is held down and that the bow releases that string. That kind of sound. Again, the last note, lift with the elbow, catch with the fingers. Drop the elbow, catch with the fingers. Lift with the elbow, catch with the fingers. Catch. And there you have it. That's sort of the main purpose of the Allegro number 35 of Wohlfahrt. This notion of correlation, advanced preparation, and the development of the Z stroke in both directions, up, down, up, down, in various sizes. I hope this was helpful for you and happy practicing. If you enjoyed this, I hope you'll like and share and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for listening.